Who is your favourite darts player? If you said Luke Littler, trust me, you would not be alone. And guess what? Target Darts have been with Luke right from the very beginning. Before he was a world champion, Luke was just like you, a kid who loved throwing darts and having fun. And Target were there from day one, helping him on his journey all the way to the top. Now you can play like Luke too. Target has loads of awesome Luke Littler gear. From the Nuke magnetic dartboard that's perfect for your first throws, to the Littler Generation 1, the actual darts used to win the 2025 World Championships. And if you want to make your game even cooler, check out Target's On-Me Auto scoring system. It does all the scoring for you, so you can just focus on throwing and having fun. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be the next world champion. Head to www.target-darts.co.uk to find out more. Podcast with me, Darren Rees, and welcome to another Versus episode. I hope you enjoyed the episode if you've listened to it on Kylian Mbappe versus Erling Haaland. And if you haven't checked out already, then please do go give it a go after this one. In this episode, we're going to be revisiting Real Madrid versus FC Barcelona. About 3.5 years ago, I did an episode on the El Clasico. So this is a bit of an update on that, with more up-to-date stats and facts, but done in a more versus style. Now, before we get this episode going properly, just to let you know, if you didn't already, the Kids vs Adults Series 5 applications are open now, and they close on February the 28th, 2026. If you would like to be involved, then please ask an adult to email darren@footballforkidspodcast.com. The adult who emails in will get an automated response. They'll fill in a form which will take about 30 seconds, and you could appear on the podcast on Kids vs Adults. If you've been on before, that's no problem at all. If you're brand new to the podcast, please do get involved. I always like to meet the listeners, and it's so much fun recording Kids vs Adults. Right then, let's do it. Another episode in our Versus mini-series. 3 episodes of some of the best verses in the world. And this one is FC Barca versus Real Madrid. Now, you need to imagine Spain as a bit of a storybook map, with 2 giants staring at each other. In the middle, a kingdom of white, Real Madrid, built on trophies, tradition, and the bright lights of a capital. On the coast is a kingdom of blue and red, FC Barcelona, proud, creative, and fiercely protective of its Catalan identity. This is the El Clasico. It's a football rivalry so huge it can make an entire weekend feel like it's holding its breath, especially in Spain. The people who do the numbers on the television and tell you how many people are watching certain things have said that game alone reaches around 650 million people all around the globe. It is the sort of game which stops people in their tracks. The best versus the best. The giants versus the giants. Magic versus magic. But to understand why these teams clash like thunder and lightning, we have to travel back more than 120 years. The rivalry is not just about football. It's a story of 2 cities with 2 very different souls. First came FC Barcelona, founded on the 29th of November all the way back in 1899 by a Swiss sports lover named John Gamper. He placed a tiny advert of 63 words in a magazine asking if anyone would like to play football. 11 men turned up, and just like that, Barcelona was born. Barca started as an international club with players from Switzerland, England, Spain and Germany, and it soon became the heartbeat of Catalonia. Their famous blue and deep red colours may have been inspired by Gamper's Swiss football roots or by a British school team. Historians still debate it today, but the colours stuck forever. 3 years later, on the 6th of March 1902, Real Madrid were founded by two brothers, Juan and Carlos Padros. They were actually born in Barcelona, but they built their club in the Spanish capital, Madrid. They chose an all-white kit inspired by the elegant English Corinthian football team. And in 1920, King Alonso XIII gave them the title Real, meaning royal, and a crown went onto their badge. From that moment on, they were the King's Club. Two clubs, two different places, with two very different identities, and it would be a rivalry which would grow into one of the loudest football battles on earth. The two giants did not wait long to meet, let me tell you. It was on the 13th of May 1902 in a royal football tournament. Barcelona travelled to Madrid for the very first showdown. Everyone in Madrid thought their team would boss it, but Barcelona had other plans. They won 3-1 and history began with a bang. A German player called Udo Steinberg scored 2 goals, and the club's founder, John Gamper, scored one himself. Imagine the boss of your club scoring in the very first battle. That is legendary stuff. From that day on, the rivalry felt like a storybook clash from two different worlds. Madrid sat in the middle of Spain. It was a big, powerful city with kings' palaces and grand buildings. Barcelona sat by the sea, full of artists, sailors, inventors, and its own language called Catalan. Then, for many years, Spain was ruled by a strict leader named Francisco Franco. During that time, people in Catalonia were not allowed to use their flag or language in public, but inside the Barcelona stadium, they could cheer, sing, and feel free. That is why Barcelona say "Més que un club." It means more than a club. For some fans, beating Real Madrid felt like winning a football match and a fairy tale adventure all at the same time. And let me tell you something, every great rivalry has some sort of spooky chapter, a match which people still whisper about many decades on. And this El Clasico, this rivalry, is no different. And that particular match happened on the 13th of June 1943. It was a cup semi-final. In the first game in Barcelona at Les Corts, which was where Barcelona used to play their games, Barca played and won 3-0. The crowd was loud, the tackles were strong, and Real Madrid were not happy at all. Then came the second game in Madrid. The Barcelona team arrived and the atmosphere was hostile and it was wild. The Barcelona bus was hit with stones, the stadium was packed, and fans were given thousands of whistles to make it super loud. High-pitched noises were coming from everywhere every time Barcelona touched the ball. And there's a famous story that somebody big and important from the government visited Barcelona's dressing room before kickoff and warned the players. Apparently, so the historians reckon, you cannot prove it exactly, but everyone was told to behave themselves. Now, make of that of what you will. The match started and everything seemed to go wrong for Barcelona. By half-time, Real Madrid were winning 8-0. In the end, it finished 11-1. It was the biggest win in El Clasico history. To this day, Barcelona fans call it the Great Scandal. Madrid fans just point at the scoreboard and laugh. And the truth is, it's still a mystery that no one will really ever know what the truth was. That 11-1 match lit a fire, but one man poured rocket fuel on that fire and made it even bigger. His name was Alfredo Di Stefano. I've done an episode on him, you can check that out on the podcast. He was not just a footballer, he was a football legend. He was a legend before there was even legends in football. He was Argentine, he was blonde, he could run, pass, tackle and score like it was going out of fashion. Some people say he was like having a striker, a midfielder and a defender all rolled into one body. In the 1950s, Alfredo Di Stefano was playing for a Colombian club called Millonarios, but his old club in Argentina, River Plate, still owned some of his rights. Some boring adult legal stuff, don't worry about it, but it is part of the story. Barcelona made a deal with River Plate. They wanted him to join Barcelona. Real Madrid made a deal with Millonarios. So both clubs thought they'd signed Alfredo Di Stefano. It was utter chaos. The Spanish Football Federation suggested a strange plan. Di Stefano would play 2 years for Madrid, then 2 years for Barcelona, swapping back and forth like some sort of football time traveller. Can you imagine that sort of thing happening today? Mbappe, right mate, you're going to play 2 years at Madrid and then we'll change your kit and you can go over to the new camp. It just wouldn't happen, would it? Barcelona said no because, well, quite frankly, they thought it sounded ridiculous, and I've got to say I agree with them. Soon after, they gave up their rights to him. Some historians believe pressure from powerful people played a part, a bit like the story we heard earlier on. Whatever happened, Barcelona lost him, and Real Madrid gained a legend. In his first El Clasico, he just scored 2 goals, and it was a 5-0 win. He then helped Real Madrid win 5 European Cups in a row from 1956 all the way to 1960, turning the club into a global giant. He scored 18 goals in El Clasico matches, a record that stood for decades until this chap called Lionel Messi came along. For Barcelona fans, Di Stefano was the player that got away. For Real Madrid fans, he was the one who built the empire. And from that moment on, the El Clasico was never just a match again. By the year 2000, the El Clasico was no longer just Spain watching, it was the whole planet watching. Real Madrid had a new boss, and he promised to build a team of Galacticos, meaning superstars so famous it was like they would come from another galaxy. Then came the shock. Luis Figo was Barcelona's captain, their hero, their best player. He told fans he would never, ever, not in a trillion years play for Real Madrid. Then Real Madrid paid a world record fee to sign him. To Barcelona fans, it felt like their best friend had joined their enemy. 2 years later, on the 23rd of November 2002, Figo returned to Barcelona's stadium, the Nou Camp, wearing a white Madrid shirt. The noise was so loud people said it was like a jumbo jet taking off. Every time Figo would take a corner or touch the ball, objects flew onto the pitch. Coins, lighters, bottles, anything they could get their hands on. It was a horrendous place to be. From 2009 to 2018, El Clasico became something even bigger. It became a duel between 2 football giants, Lionel Messi for Barcelona and Cristiano Ronaldo for Real Madrid. It was like watching Superman and Batman meet 4 times a year. The numbers were wild. Messi played 45 El Clasicos, scoring 26 goals, the most in history, and setting up 14 goals for his teammates. Ronaldo played in 30 El Clasicos and scored in 6 El Clasicos in a row. It's a record that still stands, just in case you were wondering. Then came the legendary matches. The 6-2 shock in 2009, Barcelona went to Real Madrid and absolutely stunned them. Messi played in a clever new role called a false 9, confusing defenders. Thierry Henry and Samuel Eto'o scored 2. It was at this point that the El Clasico felt at its absolute peak. You see, football never seems to sleep, does it? And El Clasicos have entered a brand new era. New stars, there's new tactics, and my goodness is there new drama and plenty of it to come. First, you got the likes of Lamine Yamal. In October 2024, aged just 17 years old, he became the youngest goalscorer in El Clasico history when Barcelona beat Real Madrid 4-0 at the Bernabeu. He is left-footed, plays on the right wing, and already winning global awards. Then there is Kylian Mbappe. In May 2025, he scored a hat-trick against Barcelona. But even that was not enough, as Barcelona came back to win that match 4-3 in one of the wildest El Clasicos ever. And do not forget Vinicius Jr. He scored a hat-trick in the Spanish Super Cup in January 2024 and kept tormenting Barcelona with his speed and tricks. And on the 11th of January 2026, Barcelona won the Spanish Cup final 3-2. Now take a breath, because when you zoom out, El Clasico is not one story. It's a whole universe in itself. It began with a magazine advert when 63 words when 11 men turned up. It grew into two football kingdoms, Real Madrid and FC Barcelona. It gave us the first clash in 1902, not that any of us were about then. There's been mystery matches like the one in 1943. There's been superstars like Alfredo Di Stefano, Lionel Messi, Luis Figo and Cristiano Ronaldo. But the story is still being written. New names like Lamine Yamal, new noises, new chapters. And if you want a treasure chest for the playground or the classroom, let me tell you this one will impress your football loving mates. Both clubs have won the Ballon d'Or in terms of their players 12 times each. But here is the scoreboard that never lies. Across official competitive El Clasico matches since 1902, Real Madrid have won 106, Barcelona have won 105. There is just one win between them after over 120 years of competitive football. That is why it's the greatest rivalry of all time. That is why it's the greatest verses of all time. The two will meet again before you know it. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and remember, if you know someone who loves football just as much as you do, then please tell them about the Football for Kids podcast. And whether you're playing football soon, watching it on the telly or pitch side, I hope that you enjoy the game. See you next time.